Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me today as my co-host is the patriot from the battle-born state, the silver state of Nevada, and that's Sharron Angle. Sharron, welcome to Conservative Commandos. And by the way, Sharron, maybe you noticed I left something out of my usual introduction, that I didn't also welcome fellow deplorables, fellow dregs to society, fellow rock dwellers, and I'll tell you why. Because those wonderful people on the left, those people that keep giving us these names, well, we've got a couple of new ones now. Because according to Elizabeth Warren, the senator who's supposed to represent all Americans, remember her? Well, she has said, all of you, quote, hateful people who celebrate the president. All you hateful people who celebrate the president. So we're going to include that into our introduction from here on out. Also, Beto O'Rourke. Again, he was a congressman, again, supposed to represent all Americans. You know, one of those people-loving persons on the left. Well, he has said, and we're going to add this into our introduction from now on in, it's really hard not to, quote, view Trump voters as racist. It's really hard not to view Trump voters as racist. So there you go. There you go. These people who want to bring us all together. Kumbaya. That we should accept everybody, we should be forgiving of we should accept differences. All right, well, diversity, they're so in for diversity, as long as you agree with them. But anyway, in our introduction in the future, we're going to add that.
Well, it's amazing to me. You can tell when these folks are breathing their dying breaths politically here. They say the most outrageous things, not understanding that at some point they're going to have to come to us if they want to get elected. And none of us are going to vote for somebody that calls us racists or haters or deplorables. Look at what happened to Hillary Clinton.
Rock dwellers, yeah. You know, Sharron,
Yeah.
and this is why people probably want to know why I use the same introduction show after show after show. It's because we cannot forget. We cannot forget who the enemy is. We cannot forget how those people on the other side hate us, frankly, hate us and disrespect us. Okay? We can't forget that. So I want everyone to remember how they talk about us, how they feel about us, what they think about us. It's very important. Sharron, well, the two Muslim members of the House of Representatives, the two members of the squad who are Muslims, are heading to Israel.
That's right. Representative Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who are expected to arrive in country on Sunday. So this is coming right up. They're not known whether the flight attendant. They will visit the Temple Mount in Jerusalem together with representatives of the Palestinian Authority. Israeli officials are saying. Israel's ambassador to Washington, Ron Dermer, announced several weeks ago that out of respect for the U.S. Congresswomen, Omar and Tlaib, they would be allowed to enter Israel despite their support for the BDS movement to boycott Israel. And they are saying that President Trump was disappointed in the decision to allow them to enter the country. So he's not pulling any punches. I thought it was interesting, too, that their chief of security, a fellow named Azar, said that the preferred goal is that the congresswomen won't come to Israel at all and cancel their visit for their own reasons. But they're taking precautions now with security, because this is a very volatile place. When you go to Israel, it's always a little bit strained, always. And they try to protect the tourism. there. They try to protect their economy as much as possible by keeping the outbreak of this kind of violence and terrorism at a minimum. But something like this kind of a visit is just going to up the ante, I guess, make it even more of a powder keg there. And I don't blame this Mr. Azar for not wanting them to come.
Oh, I would love to see the Israelis say, thanks, but no thanks. Stay home. We don't need agitators. We don't need haters like you coming here and stirring the pot. Well, I don't understand what their motive is in the first place, other than to glorify the Palestinian Authority, which are terrorists. They are terrorists. And in my opinion, this is just aiding the enemy, aiding and abetting the enemy.
Well, here's the other thing. They didn't say they could bring their delegation with them. You two can come. And I think that's smart. He's saying, we don't need any more of you guys here than we absolutely...
Right. Well, and I can understand allowing them to come in a sense, because they are representatives of the U.S. government. And even if you do not respect these two women, you need to respect our country. And yes, they are members of the House of Representatives. Let's all pray while they're there, Sharron Angle. They see the light. They gain a little bit more respect for Israel. Well, maybe they start to understand what the Palestinian Authority really is. I have my doubts, but we can hope and pray.
Well, it's highly unlikely, because you mentioned that in California, anti-Semitism is rampant.
Yes, it is. And this is an article I pulled off House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. You mentioned BDS, remember? You mentioned BDS. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy from California is demanding an investigation into how the California Department of Education crafted a blatantly anti-Semitic, anti-Israel high school curriculum. We talk about the colleges being so anti-Israel, but now it's going into the high school. That has fostered unease in the state's pro-Israel, Israel-American communities. A group of activists, state educators tied to the anti-Semitic boycott, divestment curriculum to incorporate lessons that many have described as promoting Jew hating. The curriculum has emerged as a flashpoint to a larger battle by the BDS activists to mainstream hatred for Israel on American college campuses and now in-state public schools. So I applaud Kevin McCarthy for doing this. We need to shine a light on these people and what they stand for. This BDS movement is totally anti-Israeli, blatantly anti-Semitic. And coming from the people on the left, aren't they supposed to be the loving, kind, generous, kumbaya people who want to bring us together? No, and I think this is just another example what a big fat lie that is.
Well, it is a big fat lie, and it's sad that Israel feels pressured to have these two women come into the country at all when they know how volatile their rhetoric is. Even in our country, thousands of miles away, they are able to incite people to things that are just totally outrageous with their rhetoric. And so when they go into the country where that rhetoric has been just a powder keg, I'm sorry that they felt pressured politically to take these women in and didn't just keep with their policy, which is if you are known to be a sympathizer with these folks, we don't allow you in the country.
Yeah. Hey, Sharron, let's take our first break, and On the other side, tell our audience who our guests are. We always have great guests here on Conservative Commandos. And that's what you're listening to. You're listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to talk about something else we've been talking about for quite some time here on Conservative Commandos, how deadly diseases are being brought across our border into our country. And today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Sharron and I will be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. And if you'd like to have someone interviewed on Conservative Commandos, if you could recommend somebody you'd love to see on our show, easy. Send me an email, rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com, rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. Again, I know it's long, but it's easy. rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com. Sharron, 3 great guests joining us.
Yes, we do. We have, first of all, an ambassador, Ambassador Salih Hudayar, who is a Uyghur American business consultant and human rights activist who founded ETNAM in July of 2017. Originally from East Turkestan, Xinjiang, China, he also serves as the ambassador to the United States for the East Turkestan government in exile and is pursuing a master's in national security studies at the American Military University. We've asked him to come on and talk to us about Beijing warning Hong Kong protesters don't play with fire. It's just quite scary, Rick, to think that we're looking at another Tiananmen Square. If we're not able to negotiate China out of that kind of thing. I don't know why we trusted the Chinese to say they were going to do right by Hong Kong when the British left, but here we are. Our next guest is Marilyn Singleton. She's a board-certified anesthesiologist. She's president of the American Association of Physicians and Surgeons. She graduated from Stanford and earned an MD at UCSF Medical School, and she completed 2 years of surgery residency at UCSF, then her anesthesia residency at Harvard's Beth Israel Hospital, and while still working in the operating room, she attended UC Berkeley's law school, focusing on constitutional law and administrative law.
I got to chuckle, Sharron. I got to chuckle because if you want something done, you ask a busy person to do it, and this is proof positive.
Well, so she gets a law degree. And she has practiced insurance and health law, as well as being a doctor. And then she teaches classes as well in recognition of elder abuse and constitutional law for non-lawyers. And we've asked her to talk about an article that she wrote, The Soylent Green New Deal is 3 years away. I can't wait to hear what Dr. Singleton has to say about Soylent Green, a book that we were asked to read in high school, and they later made it into a movie, and we all thought, that could never happen.
Oh, well.
Oh, well, here we are living it.
Be careful what you say and ask for.
Right. And our final guest is Alfredo Ortiz. He is the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network. Alfredo has testified before legislative committees about the impact of taxation and regulation on small business growth and speaks frequently to business organizations across the nation about the need for job creators to seize responsibility for defending free enterprise. He's been widely published in major media outlets and also is a frequent guest on cable news networks and national radio talk shows. We've asked Alfredo to come on and talk about his article, In the Trump Economy, Small Businesses Are Thriving. So why are the Dems working so hard to undermine it? And they truly are. We see that almost with everything. It's not just the economy that they're undermining, but it seems like anything that Trump has done well, they are ready to destroy it if they can.
Absolutely. Sharron, another thing we could talk about today is something we've talked about a lot here on Conservative Commandos. The people that are coming across the borders, they're bringing crime, they're bringing poverty, but they're bringing something else. They're bringing deadly diseases.
Yeah.
And now, unfortunately, we have proof positive of that.
Well, I think we talked about this in the spring. An Israeli flight attendant caught measles on a flight, an El Al flight, in late March from, guess where? The United States, John F. Kennedy International Airport. She went home and developed encephalitis, which is a complication of measles, and where the brain swells. And unfortunately, they were never able to bring her out of that coma. She died. And the Israeli media reported this Tuesday. Here she was, 43 years old, a mother, and now she's died because our borders aren't secure. She wasn't even one of our citizens, but she was just a victim of something that we have failed to really take a hold of and make a priority when it comes to securing our borders. While many measles outbreaks occurred in places with low vaccination rates, the World Health Organization said others are occurring in nations that have high rates of vaccination, resulting from lack of access to quality health care or vaccination services, conflict and displacement, misinformation about vaccines, and low awareness about the need to vaccinate. But truly, we shouldn't be having to deal with it in the first place. Vaccination is great, but if you can keep the sick from coming into your country in the first place, you can stop these kinds of epidemics. And that, of course, that's been our policy from the very beginning. When my ancestors came to what later became Ellis Island, they were screened, and it was very frightening for them if they were sick, and it was likely after a 6-week ship ride across the ocean that you could contract some kind of ailment. If they were sick, they weren't allowed into the country, so their trip was cut short, and they were sent back. And that's just been the policy forever, and now here we are allowing people with disease to come across our borders without even asking them to submit to some kind of health regulation. We don't. We're just saying, oh, sure, you just come on in. That's the Democrat way, right? They think open borders are great, and they're not thinking at all about what this has,
Sharron,
what this impact is.
I think they know. They just don't care. They just don't give a damn that they're going to do whatever they can to regain power and control it forever. So what are they doing about it? Well, President Trump is trying to do it, but he's got opposition. 2 California counties this week filed the first lawsuit against the Trump administration's new public charge rule that allows government to deny entry or green cards to immigrants based on their use of public programs like food stamps and Medicaid. Representatives from Santa Clara County and San Francisco have filed this suit seeking a temporary injunction in the District Court of Northern District of California. Here you go. These liberal judges, these liberal politicians, they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about we the people. They don't give a damn about the health and safety of America or Americans. I don't know why they hate Americans. Well, obviously I do. They hate Americans because they're not in charge. Because Americans said, we want a new direction in our president. That's what it's all about, Sharron Angle.
Well, they're part of this global community that says we all have to be equal, and somehow allowing people who come in and are not working, not supporting themselves. This has always been the rule in our immigration law, and it never went away. That is still the law, that you have to show a way that you're going to support yourself. You don't come here to have American citizens support you. We have a welfare system supposed to be only for those citizens who are not able to take care of themselves. And there are a few like that. You know, we have disabled folks. We have people who, for one reason or another, just can't work. And so we take care of them. That's what that is. It's a safety net. It's not the support system for anybody that comes to the United States.
Yeah. Hey, Sharron, let's take our next break and get our first guest on. You know, there's so much going on in the news, and one of the big hot spots in the world right now is in Hong Kong. Well, next on the Conservative Commandos, we're going to have a guest on, an ambassador that's going to talk about what's going on in Hong Kong and how it can affect the United States. But you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. I'm Rick Trader. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them. Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And as a reminder, check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. We have a lot of terrific articles, a lot of great information, as well as rebroadcast, podcasts, some people call them, of our radio show and of our TV show. And with that, Sharron, our first guest of the day is with us. Please make him feel welcome.
It is a real honor for me to introduce Ambassador Salih Hudayar, who is Uyghur American business consultant and human rights activist who founded Etnam in July of 2017, originally from East Turkestan, Xinjiang, China. He also serves as the ambassador to the United States for the East Turkestan government in exile and is pursuing a master's in national security studies at the American Military University. Ambassador Hudayar, welcome to Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Well, I think, first of all, Ambassador, I need a geography lesson. I'm thinking that Turkestan was part of the breakup of the Soviet Union, but it's really in China. Is that correct? Talk to me about where we're talking about in the world here.
So Turkestan historically refers to Central Asia. Eastern Turkestan is the eastern part of Central Asia. Turkestan was divided into East and West in the 19th century following the Great Game. Western Turkestan was under the Soviet or the Russian Empire, then later the Soviet Empire. And it became independent in 1991 with, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and the other Central Asian stands. East Turkestan maintained its independence until 1949, and it was incorporated and occupied by China and incorporated into China as Xinjiang, or what China calls Xinjiang. It literally translates as the new territory. Since then, China has been colonizing this region.
Well, that explains a lot, because we wanted to talk to you about Hong Kong. And, of course, that means that Hong Kong is a neighbor of East Turkestan. And so you would be vitally interested in what goes on there. So we're wondering, what is the latest news about Hong Kong as it affects East Turkestan?
Well, right now, Muslims in Hong Kong are peacefully demonstrating against the Chinese Communist Party's encroachment and attempts to remove or undermine the autonomy of Hong Kong. This has great impact on East Turkestan, because if this is successful, then that will mean, that will that'll be a green light for democracy movements inside China and its occupied territories, including East Turkestan, Tibet, and South Mongolia. If it fails, then it means that China will ultimately shut down any attempts for democracy in these territories for the foreseeable future.
Well, I know we were quite concerned when Hong Kong became independent, because things are so unstable in that part of the world, it seems like, and these democracies do fall. It's very difficult to maintain a democracy with such a big neighbor, I guess, a neighbor that isn't really interested in democracy like China is. Can you talk to us a little bit about how this might impact the West, the United States? Why do we care what happens in East Turkestan or even in Hong Kong for that matter?
Well, Hong Kong is a strategic financial center in the world. It's one of the most strategic financial centers in the world. It's the gateway for the West to influence China. Hong Kong, as of 1997, became a part of China when the UK handed it over under this agreement that it would be one country, two systems, meaning that it would be a part of China, but it would retain its autonomy and its democratic values. However, that has not been the case. Year by year, China has encroached into Hong Kong and has influenced Hong Kong in numerous ways to deteriorate democracy. In fact, the Chinese Communist Party are the ones who hand select who becomes, the leaders of Hong Kong. This has a lot of impact on East Turkestan as well, because, as I said earlier, East Turkestan and all the other areas that are under Chinese occupation look up to Hong Kong and look up to other areas which are democratic, so that they too can, regain their independence and regain their democracy. Why East Turkestan is strategically important to the West is because East Turkestan is roughly about 1/5 of China's current territory. It's where most of China's natural and mineral resources come out of, and it's the strategic gateway for China to the West. It's the cornerstone of China's One Belt, One Road strategy, which is China's ambitions to become the sole economic superpower.
Well, they are not exactly easy to deal with. How about that? We have found, just dealing with them over the years, that China is not trustworthy, that they lie and steal. I don't know how else to say that when it comes to business. And so I guess it's not too shocking that they've lied to the Hong Kong people about their freedom and this new territory that they're in. They're just really rolling over everyone, it seems like. And President Trump has kind of laid down the gauntlet there. He said, we don't want to deal with you if we can't trust you. How does Trump affect East Turkestan?
Well, we're hoping that President Trump, raises the issue. I mean, his administration has came out under the Assistant Secretary of Defense, Randy Shriver. He called China's so-called re-education camps in East Turkestan actually concentration camps. And he came out and said that, there's 3 million or possibly more people being held in these concentration camps. And China should be held accountable for it.
Do you agree with President Trump? Is this, or is he going over the top when he calls them concentration camps? I know that he's also used rhetoric like Third Reich. We don't deal with the Third Reich, and those are really euphemisms, I guess, to say that we don't deal with totalitarian governments that can't be trusted. Is this rhetoric? Is this something that East Turkestan agrees with, or is this making it more difficult for them?
Firstly, President Trump has not yet officially commented on the issue. Vice President Pence, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and Assistant Secretary of Defense Randy Shriver are the ones that have commented on it. But we do agree with President Trump's analogies of the Third Reich versus the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, that's a perfect analogy.
Well, he seems to be right on in a lot of other areas too, but the left here in our country is completely twisted up about his rhetoric and saying that it's harming others around the world. And I guess what you're saying is, no, it's clarifying. Is that true? Is it harming or is it clarifying?
It's actually clarifying. I mean, it's pinpointing the reality of the international community, what China is really. I mean, China is a dictatorial terror state.
Okay, now I want to go into another area here that I'm not sure that I understand completely. You're a Uyghur American who escaped severe oppression. So talk to me about Uyghurs. And you are also a businessman, but you're going to school as well. So tell us a little bit about how that all fits together.
So I'm a Uyghur American. I came to the United States on June 4th, 2000. After fleeing East Turkestan because of the severe persecution in East Turkestan. Uyghurs are the predominantly Turkic and Indo-European people that inhabited East Turkestan for about 6,000 years or possibly more. They are the dominant ethnic group in East Turkestan. They are one of the many Turkic groups in East Turkestan. After coming to the United States, we all look up to the United States as a beacon of freedom and hope. Because East Turkestan and our community needs funding to advocate on our behalf, I got into business consulting, and then I established the East Turkestan National Awakening Movement to advocate for restoring East Turkestan's independence.
We've been talking with our guest, Ambassador Salih Hudayar, who is a Uyghur American businessman, and he's from East Turkestan. He's been talking to us about the problems there with Hong Kong. And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California, specifically Pelosi country, San Francisco, San Rafael, and Sacramento. We'll be right back with our guest, Ambassador Salih Hudayar. I'm Sharron Angle, and my co-host is Rick Trader.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Want to give a shout out to folks who listen to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Long Beach, California, and now in Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., as well as seen on the AUN television network in Northern California. Our guest this segment is Ambassador Salih Hudayar. He is the ambassador to the United States for the East Turkestan government in exile. Ambassador, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rob.
Ambassador, we know you're in constant contact and constant awareness of these demonstrations that are taking place in Hong Kong. What is the latest? We hear reports that the Chinese are massing armies on the border of Hong Kong. What are you hearing?
So the Chinese, they actually already have troops in Hong Kong. There's about 6,000 PLA troops stationed in Hong Kong, but they're not allowed to leave unless it's a state of emergency or some type of conflict erupts from their garrisons. But Chinese global state media Global Times reported over the weekend that some 12,000 People's Armed Police, armed with armored personnel carriers, tanks, and helicopters, are stationed right outside of Hong Kong in Shenzhen, which is 20 miles northwest of Hong Kong. And the Chinese Communist Party's office in Macau and Hong Kong stated that they will use or that they will take action if necessary.
Ambassador, tell us, what is the rub between Hong Kong and China?
So, as I mentioned earlier, Hong Kong is a pivotal point. It's a strategic point of international business, finance. It's the gateway for the West to influence democracy in China, and it's also the gateway for China to get Western technology into China. Therefore, a lot of people are fed up with the Chinese government, and a lot of people, when a lot of Chinese people, because they're able to freely go to Hong Kong, when they see Hong Kong, how democratic it was, they're like, oh, why are we not having this type of freedoms and democracy in China? So when they were calling for this, the Chinese government, the Communist Party, became very wary about this and fearful that this might spread into China itself, and the Chinese people would rise again like they did in Tiananmen in 1989.
Ambassador, refresh our memories about the deal that Great Britain had with China about the occupation or the ownership or whatever you want to call it of Hong Kong.
So in the late 19th century, 20th century, late 19th century, my bad, the British Empire and the Qing Dynasty had made an agreement in which Hong Kong would be part of the British Empire. It was a 99-year lease agreement, you could say. And then in 1997, that year lease agreement obviously ended. And so the Chinese wanted Hong Kong, the Chinese Communist Party wanted Hong Kong to become a part of China. But the only way the UK would agree to this is if China would guarantee that Hong Kong maintains its autonomy and democratic values compared to Communist China. And China agreed to that, saying that, you know, they will get their autonomy. It'll be one country, two systems, and I would respect. But as we see, this is not the case.
You know, Ambassador, I remember when that deal, not when the deal was made, but when that Hong Kong was given back to the Chinese, and this sharing arrangement was made where China would say, well, okay, well, they could have their own autonomy. I don't know why anybody ever believed the Chinese to begin with. I don't see where they've ever been proven that we could trust them. Do you think this was a little bit of silliness to think that the Chinese would live up to this deal?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the case of, you know, let's just look at the past 30 years, 40 years of U.S.-China relations. China has made a lot of agreements with the United States, but has not even upheld one of them. In the case of East Turkestan, when they invaded us in 1949, they promised that they would leave within 3 to 5 years after helping us develop. But that didn't happen. Instead, they gave us fake autonomy status in 1955. But the only autonomy that we've ever had is the autonomy to be sent to concentration camps, prisons, and labor camps.
So I think a lot of people who are dubious in their feelings about that deal are being proved right. Ambassador, we see a lot of news reports that a lot of these demonstrations are taking place at the airport. Why the airport?
So the airport is where a lot of international people travel in and out of. So they want to garnish international attention because not a whole lot of international attention was being given to this issue. And if these demonstrations, if these peaceful protests died out and the international community turned a blind eye to it, then the Chinese Communist Party could come in and put it down ruthlessly like they did in Tiananmen 1989. But do note that this demonstration started after reports of Chinese military and police forces encroaching the borders of Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm. One of the reports that I saw that China was not allowing the airline Cathay Pacific to fly over mainland China. What is the Chinese government's rub with this airline?
Well, I'm not too familiar about the Chinese government's rub about the airline, but they don't. Few members of this airline have openly supported the demonstrators, and this is the key issue. It's a way of China saying this is payback for you supporting the demonstrators.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador, one of the things I remember was the massacre at Tiananmen Square. This was right after communism fell in Eastern Europe and in the Soviet Union, and it looked like China was going to be next. I can remember a young man standing in front of a tank with a flower in his hands. I can remember people putting flowers in the barrels of rifles. And what the Chinese government did is they perpetrated a horrible crackdown where they arrested, shot, murdered, imprisoned a lot of those people. And at that time, I could not imagine how a government could fire on its own people. I am concerned the same thing is going to happen in Hong Kong. I would like you to talk about what your fears are, what you feel is going to happen, and can you see any comparisons between Hong Kong today and what happened in Tiananmen Square?
Absolutely. In fact, I would say it's almost like a repeat, except the fact that, we're still not sure if they're about to crack down or not. If the international community continues to remain silent and, just turns a blind eye to this issue, absolutely, the Chinese government will go in there and slaughter these people like they did in Tiananmen 1989 and more recently in 2009 in Urumqi, the capital of East Turkestan.
Ambassador Salih Hudayar, we introduced you as the ambassador to the United States for the East Turkestan government in exile. Government in exile. Can you explain that to us or for us?
Yes, so the East Turkestan government in exile is the democratically elected representatives of the people of East Turkestan. We officially lost our independence in December 22nd, 1949, when the Chinese People's Liberation Army incorporated the East Turkestan National Army as the 5th PLA Army group. All of our leaders, our top 5 leaders, died in a, quote, mysterious plane crash in 1949. Wow. But the reality was in 1989, right when the Soviet Union was falling, a Russian newspaper stated that the 5 leaders of the East Turkestan Republic had been killed in Moscow at the orders of Stalin.
Wow. Incredible. Incredible. So tell us a little bit about your government in exile. Where you have a capital? What type of communications do you have with East Turkestan today?
So our government in exile was officially formed in 2004 here in Washington, D.C. We had other groups that were, former East Turkestani leaders that later created other groups trying to strive for East Turkestan's independence again. But it wasn't until 2004 that we actually came together and created the government in exile. We don't have a capital outside of East Turkestan. Our capital is still in East Turkestan. We try to maintain contact with East Turkestan, but with the current security apparatus in East Turkestan, it's nearly impossible to get information in and out of East Turkestan other than what Chinese state media reports.
Talking about getting information in and out of are the channels for communication to and from Hong Kong at the present time, are they still intact?
Mostly they are still intact, but it might change overnight. I mean, especially if they are going to carry out a brutal suppression like they did in Tiananmen or in Urumqi. In Urumqi, they shut down all communications for an entire year.
Wow. Well, let's hope and pray there is a peaceful outcome to this. Ambassador Salih Hudayar, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Ambassador, where would you recommend our listeners and viewers go to find out more about maybe the truth that's coming out of Hong Kong?
You can visit our website, nationalawakening.org. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook to find out the latest updates about what's going on in Hong Kong and in East Turkestan.
Ambassador, spell that website.
National, NationalAwakening.org.
Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you for having me.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Stay with us. On the other side, we're going to have a returning guest, Dr. Marilyn Singleton, join us. She's written a very, very interesting article, kind of scary too. The Soylent Green New Deal is 3 years away. You might remember that movie. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Once again, for rebroadcasts of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You'll find podcasts or rebroadcasts, whatever you want to call them, of our TV show there and our radio show, as well as a lot of terrific articles and a lot of great information. And with that, Sharon, we have a longtime friend of the show joining us. Please make her feel welcome as you always do.
Oh, of course, we're very pleased to, and I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Marilyn Singleton, who is a board-certified anesthesiologist. She is president of the American Association of Physicians and Surgeons. She graduated from Stanford and earned her MD at UCSF Medical School. Dr. Singleton also completed 2 years of surgery residence at UCSF and then her anesthesia residence at Harvard's Beth Israel Hospital. While still working in the operating room, she attended UC Berkeley Law School, focusing on constitutional law and administrative law. She interned at the National Health Law Project and practiced insurance and health law. And she teaches classes in recognition of elder abuse and constitutional law for non-lawyers. Dr. Singleton, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Oh, it's always so great to be here and good to see you.
Well, we're so pleased to have you, and I'm personally pleased because a little while back I saw this article. It was kind of out there, hidden, if you will, about Washington State wanting to compost human bodies. And I said at the time to Rick, this sounds like a required reading fiction from my high school years, Soylent Green. And then all of a sudden here pops up an article from Dr. Marilyn Singleton that really validates my greatest fear, I guess. The Soylent Green New Deal is 3 years away. Talk to me about this whole idea of what Soylent Green really is and how this is going to affect us. 3 years, we're always hearing from the left that we're only 12 years away from annihilation, but I don't believe them. They don't have many facts on their side. But here you say 3 years. I want to know, what are the facts?
Okay. It's always so funny looking back at these science fiction things because the year is 2020, the year is 1984. Look at the movie 2001. My goodness, it was so far in the future. And for
time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, that's right. And faster the older you get. Well, for those of a certain age who do not remember the book or the movie Soylent Green, it took place in the year 2022. And there was homelessness and a food shortage. And it was the food shortage that made them come up with Soylent. And that's for soy and lentils. And so that's how they fed people with these wafers. Well, you go through the whole movie, spoiler alert, and you find out that as they're leading off the elders to their happy death, where they get to watch videos of the beautiful earth, and then they exit as these wafers. And this is what we've now come to. I was stunned, just like you, when I read about composting humans. It's where will this ever end? We see that it's Washington, and they're very into environmentalism, and their governor, who wants to be president, gung-ho environmentalist. And it really kind of scared me that it was coming out of Washington, because at the same time you read this, I watched that video about the homeless problem in Washington. And then my mind just started going nuts. Is that what they're going to do with the homeless people? Is that what the solution to the problem is? But the idea, one might say, okay, it's just a body and it's going to go in the ground anyway, and you'll save some wood that you won't have to chop down because you won't have to make a casket. But it makes you look at the bigger picture of how we've just started to devalue human beings, devalue life. We start with rampant abortions, and then we're ending up with, hey, they're dead. So what? Well, there's more to life than that. So what? You just think of that Peggy Lee song, Is That All There Is? And this is what they're trying to say. There's nothing more to life. We don't leave a mark. We don't deserve to be treated with respect. And then they wonder why people are going around shooting people up. You have to value life, and it's just not happening anymore.
Well, I was really surprised, actually. You say you were surprised in a different way that it came out of Washington State. I was surprised it didn't come out of California. Usually we expect this kind of craziness from California. And I really was. Were you not surprised when it came out of Washington State?
Well, okay, I have to. I'm a native Californian, an original born and raised. However, I think Washington State, that used to be really quite provincial. When I went up there when I was in college, people were almost like country folk, even in Seattle. It was all the Californians that migrated up there.
Oh,
they ruined the state. When the housing prices got so high here, a lot of people moved to Washington and Oregon, and I think they ruined those states too.
Well, point well taken. I know even as long ago as 30 years, I was hearing that old hippies don't die; they just move from California to Oregon. So we are seeing this as a kind of the tail end of that hippie movement. I'm surprised at millennials. They love the music from that era. They like the dress from that era. They seem to like the drugs of choice as well. So it's a interesting revival that we're seeing of that whole movement, and probably not in a good way, as you point out.
By the way, Sharon, if I could just point out, this week is the 50th anniversary of Woodstock.
That's right.
And by the way, little known fact, I was actually there. I was their token designated driver. I was the token straight for the other 399,999 others. I made sure they all some of them got home safely.
Well, now we have Woodstock every year in the form of Burning Man in our Nevada desert. So there you go.
Okay.
It's a crazy world we live in, as you point out, Dr. Singleton. I want to go into your background with elder abuse. How does this relate to elder abuse? Because, like you said, well, it's just a body. These are old people. And as you remember that film in the book, they were leading the elderly into suicide. And I found that to be particularly troubling. I took care of my father until his death by natural causes, but even the medical community was urging me to make him more comfortable with morphine, which is just a form of assisted suicide. So talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, one of the things that simultaneously is happening is more and more states are passing physician-assisted suicide laws, and they all have these cute little names. And one thing I've always paid attention to is when you stop spelling out what something is and give it some initials, that gets it somewhat normalized. Like, we don't say physician-assisted suicide. I do, but the folks like to call it PAS or aid in dying, AID. So doesn't that sound good? And New Jersey's is called MAID, medical aid in dying. And, it's very interesting because people after World War II were always talking about how words matter, and that was one of the reasons Hitler could do so well. He knew how to formulate words and get a word into the lexicon, and then it sticks. And that's what's happened with this physician-assisted suicide, PAS. So people don't even think about what it means. And like you say, now here's somebody who's not in pain, yet they're saying, oh, why don't you give them some morphine? And so all that is just kind of hoping that then their breathing will slow down and then they'll just go away. And yes, it's a problem. We have a lot of elderly. We have a lot of people who are sick. We need to look at that from a medical aspect. How can you improve things? Are there different treatments for heart failure? If somebody does have heart failure, are you saying, okay, fine, your heart is failing, it's the end of the road. But is it any reason to devalue them? Kind of, you're old, you're sick, get over it, get out of my life. And part of it is our culture. We don't value elderly like they do in some other cultures. I used to be so disgusted sometimes where it was almost like the family was happy when Granny broke her hip. That way she could go to the hospital and then they didn't have to deal with her for the 4 days she was in the hospital. And it's funny when you get that icky feeling and you don't like to see it. And all of us are going to get old, God willing. I mean, we certainly don't die young. And I think it's something we have to think about and think about government policies. Hospice care is rewarded with high payments and daily payments. And the government did a big study, the Inspector General, and found that a lot of hospice patients weren't even seen at the end of life. But the people keep collecting their $173 a day from Medicare. And you could imagine, you get that money, whether you send a LVN or RN or anybody out to the house or not. And so that's a system that's just asking to be defrauded. And then many times the older person isn't able, of course, to speak up for themselves. And one of the things I point out in the piece, and it's becoming a real problem, and in fact, Sharron, in Nevada, there was a huge scandal about court-appointed guardians. The court-appointed guardians were stealing the money and the homes. And I can't remember the woman's name. Someone made a movie about it called The Guardians. And the woman was thrown in jail. I mean, she'd stolen millions. And this was a certified court-appointed guardian. I mean, you just think, how low can people go?
Well, and it's frightening to me as a baby boomer. This is the generation now that are entering into our 70s. And Rahm Emanuel says 75's as long as you should live. Well, that's getting pretty darn close to home. So we're gonna take a break now. We are talking with Dr. Marilyn Singleton about her article. The Soylent Green New Deal is 3 years away. We'll be right back after this message with my co-host, Rick Trader. I'm Sharron Angle, and we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us in Northern California on the AUN TV network. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, we want to thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. And by the way, if you have someone you would like to see as a guest on our program, please contact me. Send an email to me. It's Rick at conservativecommandosradioshow.com. I know it's long, but look, it's easy. It's just Rick at conservativecommandosradioshow.com. We're always on the lookout for great guests like our present guest, Dr. Marilyn Singleton. And Dr. I got to ask you, before we get back to your article, you graduated from Stanford. You earned your MD at UCFS. I take it that's the University of San Francisco, right?
University of California, San Francisco.
There you go. You also graduated from UC Berkeley Law School. How did you escape and you're still a conservative? How'd you get through all that? And here you are. You're espousing conservative ideas and principles.
Well, I have two things. I had great conservative parents who raised me where if you want something, you do it yourself. And that was our principle. Do it yourself, no matter what it was. And then two, after you are around extreme, radical liberalism, you have no choice but to be a conservative. I mean, in law school, there were people who complained they thought it was sexist because the teacher had a question about a baseball game. And it's like, what woman doesn't know about baseball games? I told these girls, you're demeaning yourself. Every woman knows something about baseball, and it wasn't even about the rules. It was about sitting in the stands. And I thought, you people are nuts.
Well, Doctor, another thing you said with Sharon, that all of us are getting old. I resemble that remark. Dr. Singleton, your article, the Soylent Green New Deal is 3 years away. Number one, I remember that movie, and I was shocked. I was shocked at the end of the movie where it had the title, "What Soylent Green is people." Okay, the whole premise of the movie leads you down to the fact that we're now eating people, and the idea of cannibalism is so shocking. I'm almost afraid anymore, Doctor, to see anything on TVs and movies, because I know once you see it on TV, once you see it in the movies, that's coming right down the tracks at you. And here we go. This idea. Doctor, why do you say the Soylent Green New Deal is 3 years away? What's the 3 years? What's that connection?
Well, that was when the movie, actually, that was the year in the movie was 2022. And It's so amazing to me that at the time, I think, wasn't the movie, I think was in the 70s. Yeah. 2022 was so far away. And we're here right now. And it actually is kind of scary. And what I wonder about is I look at the younger folk, and I wish they would look at some of these old dystopian movies and say, take a step back, that some of the things that these folks are advocating may not be so good. And it might sound good, but let's see where it goes, where it takes.
Doctor, you have in your article, and I'll read from it, in an effort to cut carbon emissions from burials and cremations, the state of Washington, led by the staunch environmentalist governor, Jack Inslee, became the first state to legalize human composting. Well, first of all, Doctor, maybe people need to go back to grammar school. That matter cannot be made or destroyed. It can be altered. Okay, and by composting people, that's not eliminating CO2 in any way. That's just changing its form. But it's still there. It's always going to be there. And what I'm getting at, Doctor, it shows how ridiculous and how ludicrous these ideas are from a sitting governor who you would think would know more, who you would think, and I say go back to grammar school because that's where I learned it. You're there, or high school, because I didn't go to college. You would think this governor would know this. You would think these people would know what CO2 is. In fact, without CO2, nothing, zero would grow on Earth. I mean, it is a very important element. And the fact that they think they're going to control it by composting people rather than burying them or cremating them. Who's leading our governments, Doctor? They're nuts. They're idiots.
That's like telling us not to breathe. We exhale CO2. But this is why some of the folks, some of the crazies back east are saying, well, this is why you shouldn't have kids, because that puts another set of lungs to breathe out the CO2 on the earth. Well, then why even have the earth? Why don't we all stand up and have a mass suicide then. We might as well not be alive. It's just, it comes down to this crazy thinking that where people don't even think, what does it mean to be a human? What does it mean to have a soul? And as a physician, when we see this happening in medicine, when medicine gets more robotic and using algorithms and people behind the computer rather than looking right at the patient the whole time you're talking to them, you just wonder, where is the humanity going? And I look at medicine as one of the last great outposts of humanity. And to see new generations coming up that haven't sat and talked to a patient without a computer screen right in between. And it's very, very sad.
Well, doctor, maybe there is someone who does have our back looking out for our best interest. And I'm talking about that human hater, that racist, that sexist, that horrible guy who reminds everybody of Hitler, that guy named Donald Trump. God. Donald Trump actually signed into law the Elder Abuse Prevention and Persecution Act. We only have about another minute or so left, but could you explain that to us?
He just made sure that there were more elder courts and that the Department of Justice would have some funds that would actually go directed toward elder abuse and criminal prosecution. A lot of people just look at it as a civil matter, but in many states, including California, it's an absolute crime that has 3 times the monetary damages or 3 times the length in prison if whatever crime you perpetrated is done on someone over 65. So we've got to let people know old people aren't here just to be kicked around.
That's right. We old people are around to remind those young people that someday they're going to be in our shoes, and be careful what you ask for. You may get it. Dr. Marilyn Singleton, we want to thank you so much for joining us, as we always do. Please remind our audience how they could follow your work and read what you write.
Okay, just go to my organization's website, aapsonline.org. And usually this week's op-ed will be right there on the front page, the home page, as soon as you open it. Or you can search around and read about all sorts of stuff about Medicare for all, anything you want to know about healthcare, but we're afraid to ask.
Dr. Marilyn Singleton, again, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you for having me.
Stay with us. On the other side, we're going to have Alfredo Ortiz. He's the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network, join us. He's written a very interesting article, The Trump Economy. Small businesses are thriving. So why do the Democrats want to undermine it? Probably has something to do with they're not in power and they went back. But we'll find out from Alfredo Ortiz after this break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, we want to thank you for staying with us. We appreciate it. You are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And Sharron, we do have our next guest with us. Please make him feel welcome.
It's a pleasure to introduce Alfredo Ortiz, who is the president and CEO of Job Creators Network. Alfredo has testified before legislative committees about the impact of taxation and regulation on small business growth and speaks frequently to business organizations across the nation about the need for job creators to seize responsibility for defending free enterprise. He's been widely published in major media outlets, including the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, CNBC, The Hill, and U.S. News and World Report, and is a frequent guest on cable news networks and national radio talk shows, including CNN, Fox News, Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, and The Dennis Prager Show. Alfredo, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Sharon, thanks, but I have the most fun doing the radio shows with you guys.
Well,
thank you. That's nice of you to say.
That's a true compliment. Thank you so much.
Well, then, Alfredo, the next time we check out your biography, please make sure you include that on there, all right?
All right. That sounds great. Rick. How are you guys doing, by the way?
We're great, and we're so happy to have you on, Alfredo. We looked at an article. In the Trump economy, small businesses are thriving, so why are the Dems working to undermine it? They are not only undermining it, but they are in denial, it seems to me, that it's even happening. Talk to us a little bit about why they are ignoring it and in denial about it.
Well, you know what? There's something called the inconvenient truth, which, if you remember in the Al Gore days, right, referred to climate change. In this particular case, I think the inconvenient truth is really about the great economy and what's going on and record low unemployment. And they can't really talk about the economy because if they really were to speak the truth with the American public, they'd have to acknowledge that under this administration, which is really, about, especially lower taxes and less red tape, less government regulation, this economy's been thriving like it never has before. Record low unemployment. Hasn't been seen in 50 years since man walked on the moon. Record low unemployment with every single demographic group. We have over 6 million jobs have been created. Under the Trump administration, hundreds of thousands of manufacturing jobs, which, if you remember, Obama said would never come back. And these are just inconvenient truths. And small business optimism continues to be high. They continue to hire, paying higher wages. Wage growth overall among small and large businesses is growing. I mean, that's just a tough truth for the Democrats to talk about, so they'd rather just avoid it completely.
Well, it seems like they always want to point me to the stock market. So there's a disparity there, isn't there? The economy is booming, but the stock market isn't so great. So why should we not pay attention to the stock market as an indicator of a poor economy or a new depression coming? That's what I keep hearing.
Well, I mean, right now there's obviously challenges. I mean, the stock market, I always tell people, is not for the faint of heart. People like doing day trading and stuff like that. Longer term, the markets, people always say, it's a longer term investment. Right now there's volatility because some of the trade realignment, which quite frankly has to happen. If you look at the latest poll, for example, from Purdue University, it's a record high number of farmers, for example, 78% of them actually said that they believe that a trade war will ultimately benefit U.S. agriculture. So the farmers are backing Trump. Approval ratings, for example, amongst farmers is almost at 80%. And, they actually appreciate the fact that finally, after, years and multiple administrations, quite frankly, a Democrat and Republican administration, nobody has really taken on China. And at one point, you just have to take it on. I think right now what's hurting the economy mostly, though, is really, the Fed. I mean, I think you guys remember, Rick and Sharon, that we were very opposed back in December to the rate increases and even all next year, the rate increases that the Fed was taking, because it really wasn't necessary. Inflation was very much in check. And now, quite frankly, I think they need to act faster, even faster than the September meeting. I think they should be looking at least a quarter, if not a half point cut, because that's what the markets are basically now looking at and asking for. And so really, I think, when you look at the stock market, there will always be volatility. There always will be. But we are still at record highs versus where we were when when President Trump got elected. So we're still at, double-digit growth on the market overall.
Well, thank you for pointing that out, Alfredo, because I like to dispel that whenever I can. When the economy is booming, you can find a lot more safe places to put your money than the market. I think that's a bottom line as well. But what has really been troubling is the idea that the Democrats are so out to lunch on this economy, and they are actually doing things that would deliberately undermine the economy, make it worse. And I guess you point out in your article that the Green New Deal is that kind of an undermining policy.
Yeah, I mean, that one really is a great example of that. I mean, one of the things that President Trump has done an incredible job on is really on energy costs, for example, and really being able to keep those low and affordable for all Americans. But in particular, when you think of small businesses in many cases are big users of energy, and so having that affordable energy really helps them to be able to pay less to power their operations or transport goods. I mean, so that enables them to really, quite frankly, grow their businesses. They can hire more people, pay higher wages, right? So, and when you think about 2/3 of all new jobs is really in the hands of small businesses, the more that we can do to keep these energy costs low for small businesses, the more that they can invest in their businesses, which in turn means the economy is going to start growing. But you look at things like the Green New Deal and what it's supposed to do, I mean, this is just really ridiculous. I mean, what's ended up happening now is that how many candidates now, 20 some odd candidates, I guess, are still in play on the Democrat side. They're just trying to one-up each other in terms of how much they can actually say they're going to spend on the Green New Deal. I mean, it's literally billions and billions and billions of dollars are going to cost the U.S. economy. And it's just, when you look at New York, for example, even when you break it down state by state, some of the ridiculous things of the Democrats, 70% of energy production, for example, coming from renewable sources by 2030 is what Cuomo is trying to push forth. In California, governor there, right, they're trying to one-up New York by saying they want to achieve 100% renewable energy production by 2045. And that would cost, for example, more than $350 billion for energy storage alone. Because if you think about what kind of sources these are, they're intermittent and they're unreliable natures, and it's unreliable, right, because it's quote-unquote green energy. And so, they really are so out of touch on so many of these policies that really impact the everyday American, everyday consumer and everyday American business person. And we just got to keep on highlighting these and making sure that the American public is aware of it.
Well, and these crazy green energy bills that are coming out of California are fairly disingenuous. What we find is they may be 100% renewable, but they're buying their dirty energy or their reliable energy from states like Nevada and surrounding states, which puts a definite bind on that state. Our energy bills go up because the demand is greater here because, as I say, they may be 100% over there, but they're still using what they term dirty energy. They're just getting it from another source, not making it right there in their own state where they have the resources for it. What do you think about that, Alfredo?
No, it's absolutely true, Sharon. I mean, when you look at, boil it right down to it, I mean, there's a reason why, quite frankly, when you look at New York and California, they're the 49th and 50th worst states, respectively, to do business. There's a reason for that, right? I mean, in the end, here's what it comes down to. Consumers and small businesses alike, they're going to shoulder this burden. There's no other way of, what we call kind of these politically correct energy projects. And here, how are they going to do it? It's going to be increased prices, increased taxes, and increased fees. That's pretty much what it boils down to. And that's the truth that the Democrats will never tell the American public.
Well, I had a really serious talk with my millennial last night about taxation and regulation, and I believe that it's finally dawning. They're looking at buying a house and just the way that property taxes are levied. And of course, that's one of those pass-throughs again. Any time that we have this regulatory environment and this taxation that's going on here, and that's really all the Green New Deal and these energy bills is just another form of taxation, don't you think, Alfredo?
1,000% agree. And these are the workarounds, right? And that's something that, it's a very interesting point. In fact, it's an excellent point because these user fees, all these other licensing fees, and all this is exactly how these communities, the states, they get around, trying to say that they're not increasing taxes, but then they're turning around and increasing these fees. And that's something, that quite frankly, as the Trump administration is trying to lower some of the, government fees at a national level, a lot of these, what I call left-leaning communities and states that support these, pretty much radical socialist programs already in some cases. Look at what the governor of California is doing. And so many different things, right, and different policies. They're using fees to support some of the spending, so that they're not saying that they're taxing their constituents.
But indirectly, they really are taxing their constituents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But you know what? That's why I think I think Californians are starting to wake up. People are moving out in droves. I have very good relations with Governor Ducey, for example, in Arizona, and I always love talking to him because he goes, I have to really thank the governor of California, my best partner in terms of getting people to Arizona.
Yeah, we've been the recipient of those asylum seekers as well.
That's exactly. Fine as long as they don't bring their liberal politics with them. You guys will be all right.
But unfortunately,
Rick, you bring up something really interesting. If you do want to spend just a couple seconds on that, that is kind of what's happening, though. If you think about, Georgia, Florida, and some of these other, mostly, red states that are now seeing an influx of folks from like California and New York and stuff like that, they are bringing their politics with them. Look at what happened just last year in Georgia on the governor's race, and that's something that people need to watch out for because again, with that influx comes a lot of those left-leaning politics.
Well, you're exactly right. We have a completely blue state this last cycle through, and it's mostly because we've had such an influx of California asylum seekers. So it is a double-edged sword. The economy soars here because they are fleeing. What do you think will be the ultimate turnaround for these states where their citizens do flee? Are they going to back up on this, or are they just going to ride this horse into the ground?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think eventually, the constituents are going to catch on to what's going on, are going to realize. I mean, I always encourage states to start looking at some preemptive measures, for example, on these mandated minimum wages, for example. So much of this is coming from states like California and New York, but in reality, we know what's happening in those states that have mandated these, government-issued $15 wages, for example. I mean, it's really killing a lot of these businesses, especially small businesses. And so I think a lot of folks are going to start realizing that. I think ultimately, I mean, how many people can California lose? I mean, it's such a shame. I'm actually an original Californian myself, and boy, I have to tell you, I'd be so tempted to go move back there if it weren't for just the horrible politics and policies of that state. I think it's eventually they're gonna run out of people.
Well, at least people who can contribute to the economy. The homeless are doing fine. The illegal aliens are doing fine. It's the small businesses that are leaving in droves. And we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. We're hoping that they will take a page out of this book that our guest today, Alfredo Ortiz, has been giving them a real lesson in the economy and what's going to happen if the Democrats take control of the economy once more. We are coming to you, of course. We'll be right back after this break with my co-host, Rick Trader, and I'm Sharron Angle.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. Yes, that's Sharron Angle. And for rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. Like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. It's always great to have Alfredo Ortiz with us. He's the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network, and we're discussing an article he wrote, The Trump Economy. Small businesses are thriving, so why are the Dems working to undermine it? Alfredo, I will make the argument those people on the left do not care. That they are willing to destroy our economy. They are willing to dump misery on this country for them to get back their power. It's what it's all about. Anything that Donald Trump says or does, they are going to bash it. You know, there has been a reaction from the stock market the past couple of days, and it's because somebody's raising the inflation flag. Alfredo, I will bet it's the people on the left that's raising the inflation flag. Am I thinking too far outside the box?
Well, you know, I mean, it's again, I think it's the health of the economy, the health of the stock market is just an inconvenient truth right now. It's still on a record tear. We've had a couple bumpy sessions up and down, and again, as I mentioned earlier with Sharon, the investing in the stock market is not for the faint of heart. If you're trying to do day trading and trying to follow day to day, people say, you know, on a longer term perspective, it's a good place to put your money, right? It provides those returns on a longer term basis. You know, it is from some perspective an indication of how the economy is doing, how businesses are doing. But there's so much volatility right now. There is some trade realignment that has to happen. There's tremendous sensitivity to that. I think, you know, when you look at what's happening in terms of inflation, for example, there is no inflation really. It's still below the 2% mark that the Fed is looking for. And quite frankly, you know, right now, probably the biggest issue is that people just believe in our country so much that they're, you know, that people are flowing their currencies and their money into the U.S. and buying our treasuries. And that's actually kind of somewhat difficult for us, right? Because what does that mean? It just basically means that our dollar is stronger, which makes it a little bit more difficult on some of these trade imbalances. And not to get too wonky and technical with everybody, but, you know, that's the reality of the global market we're in. But look what China has been doing for years, for decades. And that's, again, why the American public is supporting President Trump. Even Schumer, quite frankly, agrees with, you know, some of the stuff that President Trump is doing with China, because for years they have been taking advantage of the American people. And they have been taking advantage of American businesses. And quite frankly, we've been a little bit on the drug of cheap goods and services as a country. And I think we have forgotten kind of our patriotic duty in some cases of just buying American. A lot of these goods and services can be bought here and produced here. And I think that's part of also what President Trump is trying to do to make sure that we buy American and hire American.
You know, Alfredo, I think the American people need to have a long memory. Remember, these gloom and doom things are coming to us from the same people who said that if Donald Trump gets elected, our stock market is going to plummet. Coming from the same people like Barack Obama, who said, this is the new economy, this is the new realization, when our unemployment rate was at 8%. The same Barack Obama said that we cannot drill ourselves back to $2.50 a gallon of gas. And by the way, Alfredo, even after a 28-cent hike in gasoline in New Jersey, I passed a gas station today. You know what the price of gas was? $2.50 a gallon. So that's amazing. We have to remind the American people not to trust those people. They are lying. They are liars. Right. Every time they open their mouth, they lie. When their lips are moving, you can bet that they are lying. The stock market goes up and down, but you know what? By and large, it's always going to go up.
Yes.
Hey, Alfredo,
like
we have... I'm sorry to do this, but we're coming up against a hard break. And Alfredo Ortiz, president of and CEO of the Job Creators Network, I wanted to give you a few seconds to tell our audience how they could follow your work, read your articles, and to find out more about the Job Creators Network.
Well, thank you very much, Rick. JobCreatorsNetwork.com, JobCreatorsNetwork.com. We are unabashed supporters of free enterprise and small businesses across the country. 30 million small businesses employing 60 million hardworking Americans. We're fighting for each and every single one of them as much as we can, telling the truth that, quite frankly, the liberal left media will never tell. We're trying to spread that word, and we appreciate anybody who has a business, a small business, or knows somebody who owns a small business, or is a friend of somebody who owns a small business. Please go on, sign up. Our website information is all free. If you're interested, there's also some paid memberships there, of course, if you want more information. But look, just go on there. Please support us, help us. We're trying to do whatever we can to make sure that the truth actually gets out.
And as you said to Sharon, 2/3 of all jobs in America are because of what? Small business. Alfredo Ortiz, again, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
God bless, Rick. Thank you, Sharon.
This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. Sharon and I will be back with more right after this break.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Well, Sharron Angle, that just about wraps it up for today's show. And Sharon, I always appreciate you sitting in as my co-host, and I always appreciate our guests. I always learn so much from them. They are my teacher. I become their student here on Conservative Commandos.
Well, you're right, Rick. We had pretty lively discussions today with our great guests, and I want to thank them as well. We had Ambassador Salih Hudayar, who is from East Turkestan, the exiled government, but he was talking about how Hong Kong plays such a big role in what goes on in the world economy and also in the area of politics and freedom. And our good friend, longtime friend of the show, Dr. Marilyn Singleton, who is a board-certified anesthesiologist and president of the American Association of Physicians and Surgeons, talking about the Soylent Green New Deal is 3 years away, but really what she was talking about is our respect for life here.
Yes.
And how close we are coming as baby boomers to something that could be really scary. Our final guest that we want to thank, again, a longtime friend of the show, Alfredo Ortiz of the Job Creators Network, talking about the Trump economy. Small businesses are thriving, but the Democrats are undermining that economy. And to what end? Rick Trader, you gave us a little bit of an insight into their motivation, but it's just amazing to watch.
They're going to do whatever they can, and they don't care how they're going to hurt our country. They don't care. The only thing they want is they want their power back. That is it. Sharron, how can our audience follow what you're doing when you're not here with me on Conservative Commandos?
Certainly, always at SharronAngle.com, SharronAngle.com.
All right. But for right now, we are out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The secret war is yours, free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them. Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Democrats Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris picked up 4 Pinocchios from the Washington Post for their description of the Michael Brown incident in Ferguson, Missouri. President Donald Trump takes a much-needed step to clean up the legal immigration process, and the public school system is even more left-wing than you think. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the show. Before we jump in, I've got to tell you about my friends over at Bottle Breacher. Please check them out. They make some great stuff, from groomsmen's gifts to promotional item, basically stuff for dudes. It's awesome. Just go to bottlebreacher.com. Use coupon code Bobby13-A1 for 20% off your next purchase. That's bottlebreacher.com, coupon code Bobby13-A1. All right, so first I want to talk about Democrats Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris. They're both running for president, and they will both say anything to rile up division, stir up division, foster it, pit people against each other, namely the American people versus Donald Trump, but it's always us versus them, and they will stop at nothing, use racism, bigotry, whatever, all the stuff they blast the right about, that's what they do, and they were at it again to such an extent a few days ago that even left-wing sources, media sources, blasted them for their wording. As you know, recently it was the 5-year anniversary of Michael Brown being shot in Ferguson, the incident that started the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And both of those two, Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris, decided to put out tweets. And here, we'll start with Kamala Harris. Here's what she wrote. Michael Brown's murder forever changed Ferguson and America. His tragic death sparked a desperately needed conversation and a nationwide movement. We must fight for stronger accountability and racial equity in our justice system. So that's just unreal when you see how much she wrote that was absolutely false, all right? And especially one particular part. But then here's Elizabeth Warren. 5 years ago, Michael Brown was murdered by a white police officer in Ferguson, Missouri. Michael was unarmed, yet he was shot 6 times. I stand with activists and organizers who continue the fight for justice for Michael. We must confront systemic racism and police violence head on. All right. So again, there's a lot of problems with those tweets, but the main one is both Harris and Warren said that Michael Brown was murdered. I mean, what is that? Of course, Warren goes out and, she specifically says it was a white police officer, but murdered? I mean, Michael Brown attacked a police officer, reached into his car, tried to grab his gun, tried to punch him. The local investigation found that it was self-defense. Well, then the Obama administration stepped in and had their DOJ, Obama's DOJ, step in, and they said that it was self-defense. No charges against the police officer, both at the local and the federal level. And here's more. And so because of that, because of these statements, and the left-wing media, Vox and others, they couldn't even help themselves. They had to blast Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris. They worded it, and some of them worded it in such a way that it's like, yeah, man, we hate to do it, but you guys were a little wrong. But here's the report from the Washington Post from their fact checker. Harris and Warren have ignored the findings of the Justice Department to accuse Wilson of murder, even though the Justice Department found no credible evidence to support that claim. Instead, the Justice Department found that the popular narrative was wrong, according to witnesses deemed to be credible, some of whom testified reluctantly because of fear of reprisal. The department produced a comprehensive report to determine what happened, making the senator's dismissal of it even more galling. Harris and Warren both earned 4 Pinocchios. And again, that wasn't the only source that blasted Warren and Harris. And it just shows that, they knew what they were typing. And I'm sure they, were briefed, and whatever staffer wrote it up, they both coordinated, they both used the word murder, and it is so wrong. And all that does is stoke racial tensions. And they talk about President Trump. I mean, look at what they are doing. And thankfully, even the left just thought that was too much, because it is. And that is not what we need to do as people running for president, to try and stoke divisions. What about bringing people together? But they'll attack President Trump any day of the week. And speaking of President Trump, he made a great move this week in addressing the immigration system. And, you know, when he ran, one of the reasons that he won was because he made this a central issue, both legal and illegal immigration. And we've seen what he has done with illegal immigration. I mean, he's requested more funding for the detention centers that are getting overrun. He's asked for wall construction, and they've been building and replacing and repairing walls and barriers. He is doing that. He has worked with Mexico to get Mexico to supply its own troops to help stem the flow of illegal immigration. So now the president has taken a step on the legal side. And this is much needed because we have statistics. I've actually gone over them in a previous show on how much immigrants over time and relative to the population of natural-born American citizens use public assistance, use the welfare system, use taxpayer-funded programs. So something needs to be done, okay? Something needs to be done about all these immigrants who come over, and the statistics show that disproportionately they use the welfare system. They rely on it, some live on it. It becomes a way of life, and that needs to change. That is not sustainable. That's not why we're here as a country, to welcome people that are not going to be self-sufficient and just live off the taxpayer dime. So the acting director, Ken Cuccinelli, briefed reporters, and he laid out this case. And again, this is not about kicking people off of welfare. This is about screening future immigrants, people applying to come in or for permanent status. Are they going to be a drain on society, or are they going to be self-sufficient? And here's what Cuccinelli had to say.
Since 1996, the law has required foreign nationals to rely on their own capabilities and the resources of their families, sponsors, and private organizations in their communities to succeed. However, Congress has never defined the term public charge in the law, and that term hadn't been clearly defined by regulation.
So this means finally, it's a little bit of common sense. There's finally a definition of what it means to be a public charge so that you can apply that criteria to see if immigrants should remain in this country. And here's the definition.
Under the rule, a public charge is now defined as an individual who receives one or more designated public benefits for more than 12 months in the aggregate within any 36-month period.
So now it's pretty simple. You have a pretty simple definition. If you use a year's worth of public assistance over a 3-year time, that can be used against you in determining if you are going to become a citizen or permanent resident or any of those long-term residency type categories, all right? And again, this is nothing new. Applying this kind of criteria has been around for over 100 years. They're simply putting a definition so that you can actually apply it, because we want self-sufficient people. We want people who are going to contribute. The idea of coming over and participating in the American dream is why people come here. We want them to come here if they're going to contribute. We want the next generation of doctors and lawyers and plumbers and bricklayers. What we don't want, and what we can't afford as taxpayers, is the next generation of welfare recipients. So, heads up, thumbs up to President Trump for addressing this so that we can clean up the legal immigration process as well. And of course, because of this definition, the left is just freaking out. And here's a report from MSNBC.
We know the president has always had a preference for immigrants from Nordic countries. He's made that very clear, as opposed to some of the other disadvantaged countries. Walk us through the impact on these immigrants. Why now?
Wow, so that's unbelievable. And even NBC's White House correspondent didn't know how to react to that and just thought that was just far out. Here's her response.
Well, I don't know that the president has expressed a preference for Nordic countries. That is something where I'm not sure where you're getting that from. But he has certainly said that he has an emphasis on merit-based immigration.
So again, it's a typical response from the left. And this policy is something that I wanted to inform you guys on because it makes sense. You know, it's been a policy for the United States for over 100 years. We want people to be self-sufficient. And all of this does is actually encourages immigrants to have their act together before they come over. So it is a positive move. It's positive for the taxpayers. And in the long run, it helps the country. And that's all we can ask. And so kudos to President Trump for putting this forward. Now I want to talk about our messed up public education system, because I've got two examples and they are just nuts. First, the governor of Illinois just signed a bill into law that as part of middle school education, they're going to have the LGBTQ history as part of the curriculum. And here's a report from CNS News. It says, the law amends the school code in Illinois. Specifically, it mandates that textbooks authorized to be purchased must include the roles and contribution of all people protected under the Illinois Human Rights Act and must be non-discriminatory as to any of the characteristics under the Act. It further provides that textbooks purchased with grant funds must be non-discriminatory, and that in public schools only, the teaching of history of the United States shall include a study of the roles and contributions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in the history of this country and this state. I mean, so what is that? How do you implement that? When you're talking about history, when you're talking about a battle, like in Texas, the Battle of the Alamo, or U.S. history, are you going to then stop and pause and say, oh, by the way, this guy was gay? Or, by the way, this person that, was a hero in this battle happened to be a transgender dude. What difference does it make? We're studying historical events, and they want to bring in at this middle school level the sexual orientation of the people who are doing it. It makes absolutely no sense. And to show you how just far off these guys are, that's not the only thing that they added to the education curriculum. Check this out. In addition to the LGBT history, the schools must also include a study of the role of labor unions and their interaction with government in achieving the goals of a mixed free enterprise system. No pupil shall be graduated from the 8th grade of any public school unless he or she has received such instruction in the history of the United States and gives evidence of having a comprehensive knowledge thereof. So there you have it. In Illinois, you've got to learn the sexual orientation of historic figures, and you have to study labor unions and their contributions. This is part of their history program now. Now, moving up to college education, my daughter just graduated, and she had one more class to take, an elective, and so she just decided to just jump right in. She took a class on race and ethnic relations, okay? And here is the textbook. It's called Recognizing Race and Ethnicity, Power, Privilege, and Inequality. And it is absolutely nuts. This is an actual class, and it's being taught, and you would think that with classes, with textbooks, it's supposed to be objective, but this doesn't make any pretense of that. It doesn't try and hide anything, and it's just outrageous. Check out this excerpt. It says, more current examples of the continuing significance of race include the race-baiting Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has been accused of. Specifically, his claims that Mexicans are rapists and that we should build a wall to keep them out, and his promise that if he becomes president of the United States, he will deport all Muslims. Are you kidding me? So this author, she doesn't even, go with the line that says, Trump wants to ban all Muslims. No, she takes this a step further and says, if he was elected president, he's going to deport them all. He's going to kick them all out. So it's just absolute outrageous that they just make stuff up. And this is a textbook, a scholarly work, supposedly. Then I want one more example. And this is from the book. It says, the implementation of strict voter ID laws, which are found in 33 states and require people to show a government-issued photo ID in order to vote, is also a good example of the continuing significance of race. First, there is no evidence of massive voter fraud that needs to be addressed. Second, such ID requirements would not stop voter fraud. Finally, liberals see this as a Republican tactic to depress voter turnout among key constituencies, primarily African Americans and other racial minorities, students, and the poor, all of whom tend to vote Democrat. And this is sourced from Graham 2016. So this is absolutely amazing. And so what I did was I looked at that source, Graham 2016, and it is actually an article, half like news op-ed from The Atlantic. I mean, that is a far left-wing publication, and that's the source for a textbook. So then I looked, and I want to just reiterate what this textbook, my daughter's textbook, said regarding some of the voter ID. The author wrote, first, there is no evidence of massive voter fraud that needs to be addressed. All right, so that sounds like a strong statement of fact. So then I went and looked at the Atlantic article, did a search on evidence. There's just one instance of that word. And here was the sentence. It says, liberals who oppose voter ID laws counter that there's next to no evidence of actual voting fraud. So it goes from a statement of fact to the actual sentence is the liberals' opinion that there's no actual fraud. And it's just this twisting that goes over and over again that these students will accept as fact when it's clear that this whole textbook is an opinion piece, a left-wing propaganda piece, and it's absolutely outrageous. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberly. This is a 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.